Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the RuneQuest rules by Chaosium Incorporated. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. Strong language, mature scenes, and rune magics are on the way. As this is our Glorantha, we will remind listeners that it may vary from the one you already know and love. And now, on to the show. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways Podcast. I am your storyteller this evening, Michael Diamond. My pronouns are he, him, and we are back with our 6 Seasons in Sartar campaign. We'd like to welcome you in. Thank you as both the listener and you, the Patreon supporter. If you've not had a chance to check out what we offer on Patreon, you can at patreon.com/theoldwayspodcast. I will mention just briefly here that is the best way to get a hold of our show and the best way to support it, because you get all of our shows ad-free. There will never be an ad on Patreon. And you get the opportunity to support more RuneQuest on the show. So if you like us playing RuneQuest, and it seems like you do, then come over and drop just a few, lunars or L's our way, and we'll see what we can do to cook up some more RuneQuest for you. You can follow us on YouTube. And just type in the Always Podcast on YouTube and you will find our channel. Subscribe there. That'd be fantastic. We are also on twitch.tv/theoldwaystwitch. So if you are a fan of the visual elements as well, you can check us out and subscribe over on Twitch as well. And so now we will get to player introductions to my right.
Hi, everybody. I am Heather Ashcraft, Valley Girl Heather. My pronouns are she, her, and I am playing Lysana of Cliffshield, the apprentice healer and midwife of the Haraborn and follower of the Blessed Earth Mother, Arnalda. And things are getting very, very serious.
Yes, indeed. They have already gotten serious, and now we'll see sort of what happens and how much the Haraborn find out. Next to Lysana.
This is Morgan, and I play Alara of Hillbase Stead. Our pronouns are she, her, and we're a devout cultist of Marangor, the goddess of earthquakes and quake beasts. Dinosaurs. We both enjoy the connection to the raw power and primal fury of the earth.
I look forward to seeing that raw fury very soon. At the end of the table.
This is Jake, and I play in Varcast, Initiate of Orlanth, and Initiate of Shah the Rainbow Worm, and we are about to commit a crime against the people of the Haraborn. Under orders.
Yeah. You absolutely are. You're going to commit a grave sin, and worse yet, you have been ordered to do so. Since you are going to be crafting such a heresy, I think it's best that we use that as a prelude for our last, but most certainly not least, player.
Hi, this is James, and I'll be playing Finn, the heretic, in question, master of the river and follower of Ermal. And until the deed is done, Finn won't believe it.
Yeah, absolutely. The deed is about to be done, though. So we're going to part the veil this day. A rather turbulent day for our Haraborn. The veil, which sits in the middle, just nestled between Kevin and Cragradius, and has seen its ability to support our meager remaining Haraborn for these many years. As we saw and experienced very recently, it does seem as if the consequences of the actions of Gordangar and some of the other Haraborn have now come to roost, and they are now beset upon by several hundred troops. Worse, they are being led by a leader who does not really speak for the Sartarite people, in name only. But yet he is here. And even worse, the troops he is plunging into battle with against the Haraborn are Sartarites. And so you are going to be bedeviled and battled by your own people. And so it's sort of important to set that stage for the story that we'll tell tonight. This turning, these events which begin to spell out the fate of our Haraborn. It's clear that the Vale has done its best to excise as many of the innocents, but any, adult whom can lift a weapon and is willing to stay are helping the Vale and the Haraborn people try to defend against such a terrible onslaught. Except our 4 heroes have been pushed aside. They have been given a mission to go to the Royals Grove and to commit an unspeakable, but yet somehow understandable act. In truth, to protect the Black Stag and to protect the spirit of the Haraborn. There is an atrocity which they must complete. Before they do, we are going to determine what happens with that battle, the Battle of Red Rock Stead. I will not pull any punches for our Haraborn. They must understand that the Battle of Red Rock Stead will determine the fate of their people. And so you must be a part of it in some way, shape, or form. Now, recently we did a battle governing by the battle rules that have been laid out, and so I just want to give an idea of what that means. So each side of the battle has certain statistics. It's going to make certain rolls. So our player characters are going to get a chance to roll, and I'm going to give them some very specific people that are at the battle that they will embody when they make these rolls. And then what we'll do is we'll count up. After we're all done, we'll determine how many victory points each side has, and then we'll go from there. And that will determine the fate. And I will ask my players to suspend a little disbelief, and should they win, should they fail, their characters will not know what the fate is of their people until they return. So, I will begin in introduction order with Heather, who normally would play Lysana, but I am going to give her something a little different. Now, I don't imagine Lysana has a ton of battle as a skill, and that's okay, because you don't need to worry about your own skill sheet. The battle skill I'll give you is for Jorganuth, the chief weapon thane of the Haraborn. His battle skill is 50. So just make a mental note that you have a battle skill of 50 when you make this roll. Okay? So his purpose in the battle will be to blunt the charge of many of the troops that are coming here. So Kang Harl is the major opponent on the other side, and his troops are going to come in. About 250 men are making up this charge. The Haraborn side has about 140, give or take. And from what you all would know, the Deerfolk are going to make an appearance at this battle, likely from the rear, and they have about 80. So because of the size modifiers of both forces, there's no real plus or minus to either. So, moving right along, I am going to give Alara Irenina Copper Axe, the priestess of Babista Gore, who will be participating for the Haraborn on this side. So Babista Gore is very closely related to Ernalda, and in that way also Marin Gore. And Copper Axe's battle skill is also 50%. So you'll want to make a note of that when you roll, that is your starting battle skill will have a couple of modifiers therein. The Lunars during this battle have ordered Kang Harl to put his own house in order, so there are no lunar magicians at this battle to support him. He has Kolomar tribal magic behind him, so we'll sort of talk about what that means in a second. But moreover, I think it's only fitting, Jake, that you take on the role of your father, Gordangar, in this battle. And so there are 2 skills I want you to write down.
Okay.
One is Orate. Your father's Orate skill is 90%. He's quite the orator, as one might say.
I guess.
His battle skill, which you will also need, is 65%.
Not bad.
Yeah, he's a fair at weapons and tactics. So the good news is, at least, I mean, if there is good news, the good news is the Haraborn get a advantage for fighting amongst the grounds that they live. So they're Tua. They're going to get a chance in their own Tula to take advantage of the surroundings. What weakens that a little bit is the fact that you're fighting other Sartarites, and they know these lands too. And so the normal 20% you would get is going to be split in half and made about 10. We'll talk about the final percentages here in a second. And then to wrap things up, because without Gordangar, there would not be a Keldon Blue Eye. Keldon is here as well, and James, who plays Finn, will be taking on sort of the role of Keldon in this battle. He also has a battle of 50%. Okay, let's talk about the bad news. The bad news is the Haraborn are outnumbered. They are, frankly, out-tacticked a little bit at this fight, at least from the beginning. And so, with your heads sort of in those spaces, taking on those roles, the conflict for the Haraborn begins fairly early in the morning. Kang Harl begins his assault on the palisade. And you can all see this begin from the place where you're at. The thing to remember, of course, is that you have, for very good reason, you have gathered the Feards at Red Rockstead, really that narrowest part of the Vale. And what's important about that being at the narrowest part of the Vale is you basically force a much larger contingent of troops to make their way through something that is smaller. And the hope that you have, Gordangar, is that the deer folk will hit at the right point in time. So when the forces of Kang Harl are trying to smash through that wall, your hope is that the deer folk will arrive to split the back of that force and force some of these extra traitors in your mind to split off and to blunt that assault. The fighting does not go very well in the early hours of the morning. The steads, which are depleted of most people, minus a few cotters or men who decided to stay as, in effect, archers to try to silence spellcasters or take out important members of the opposing force, they get overrun pretty quickly. The king's forces begin their march, and by noon, ancient magics that are reinforcing that wood are torn down and walls start shattering. As the forces head north, they set fire to longhouses, barns, and fields, especially of the Vale Gate, Twinstone, and the Bear Fallen Steads. So they are moving northward, and essentially they are burning everything in their path. The fire and the black smoke that rolls out of it is noticeable all the way up the Vale. By mid-afternoon, Kang Harl's forces are beginning to continue their progress. So the shield wall that you've set up, Gordangar, has support from archers, units of weapon thanes. The stream bed has run dry because Keldon and a few others dammed it north. So that way the army lower could not get to fresh water. So they're trying to take your forces are basically trying to take away every environmental advantage they could possibly have. The Haraborn forces form an unbroken line across the valley floor. You begin to hear the sound of drums and pipes carried up the breeze. The ground itself, as you all stand on it, quivers beneath the march of booted feet. And doom continues its rise in elevation and its eagerness to find you. The assault at Red Rock begins. Shield wall smashing against shield wall. The air fills with an accompaniment of magics. Savan's voice is as loud and throaty as you've ever heard him. And a thunderstorm begins to roll down from the north, like a beast clawing its way out of a cage. Your brother has never been more ferocious, and bolts of lightning start striking key areas in some of their forces. Horns blare, battle cries are shouted. These echo all the way up the vale and the sides of the mountain. And so now what we need to do is we need to make a couple of rolls just to determine really who wins and, more importantly, how they win. So what I'd like to do with Gordangar is I would like to start with an orate roll.
That is 31 under 90.
Okay. Very good. So now the tough part. I am going to have, starting with Lysana, we'll leave Gordango for the last bit. I'm going to have you all roll battle. But when I do, I am going to have you modify your roll with a negative 15 to the percentage. That is the battle penalty. That is the difficulty that you are facing, outnumbered, out-tacticked. Heather, give us Jorganos' battle roll. We'll begin some important calculations.
Okay. As I have battle at 50, and then at the minus 15%, I am looking for 35. Less. And that is a 43 over 35.
Okay, very good. And then, so that's a failure on that roll. I will ask Morgan, who is playing Aranina Copperaxe, to make a battle roll for me as well.
All right. Well, my original is 50%, and with the 15% battle penalty, puts me at a 35. Oh. And I got a 92 out of 35.
Okay, so that's not a fumble, which is good. All right, and then James, who's currently playing Keldon Blue Eye, if you would give me a battle roll.
I certainly will. I got a 6 under 35.
All right, a 6 under 35 is a special. We'll write that down. And then finally, if you would, Jake, who is currently playing his father, Gordangar, give me a battle roll.
Okay, so it's 13 under 50.
That's a success. That is really important. Okay, so a success when it comes to these battle rolls, especially when it comes to Gordangar, are pretty important because he is the main NPC on the battlefield for the Haraborn, and because he is the main NPC, all of his VPs are tripled. All right, so for every failure, we're going to subtract 1 VP. So that is -2. And then for every success, special, and critical, it is +1, +2, or +3. So Keldon special is 2 points. So that puts you at a flat 0. And then because of Gordangar's 1, that will put you at 3 because his VPs are tripled. So your total score is a 3. Now, I do not get 4 rolls. I get 1. But I get it for King Harl, the king, and the king's VPs are tripled as well. This ought to be actually really interesting because it could totally end in a tie. Okay, I rolled a 2. That's not going to be a tie. That is a critical. And so his VPs are 3. They are tripled, so he has 9 victory points. Okay. So to put a bit of a coda on what happens at the Battle of Red Rock Stead. Slowly, over a portion of about 2 to 3 hours, lunar forces continue to press. And I say lunar forces because the people in front of you are traitors. As soon as they signed up to work for and kneel to the bat and the forces of the Lunar Empire, they became traitors to you. It does not prevent them from wiping you off the face of the earth. King Harl does his best to take as many captives as possible. And so that includes Gordangar and his bonded Maul, Keldon Blue Eye. Jorganuth and Aranina Copper Axe die on the field of battle, as do about 70% of the Haraborn forces. When the Deer Folk arrive, they arrive late. And in doing so, they also reveal their position to King Harl's troops, and they turn, and their end is one that is bloody and difficult. All in all, the troops will take about 30 to maybe 40 prisoners. They are bound and soon after the battle marched out of the Vale, and their whereabouts will be unknown for some time. But that is not the end of our story. Because several thousand feet up, there is a group of 4 Haraborn who still draw breath. And they have a sacred mission to continue. And so I wonder, as the 4 of you continue to make your way up, how much of a glance are you giving the Vale during the morning, even midday before you make the Grove?
I think it would be hard not to, at least even as the feet move forward, to pause for a moment here and there and look down upon the sights that accompany the sounds that we hear. And just a reminder, this was given to us, so we need to keep going.
Finn does not spend any particular amount of time looking down at the Vale. That's watching a line waiting for a fish that'll drive you crazy. He's pressing forward and doing his best to be just obnoxiously distracting enough to, keep minds on other things.
Okay. So the grove itself is a lost beauty of really a former world, one totally and completely untouched by any human hand for some time. The trees here, as you approach this portion of the Royals Grove, are ancient, even by your standards. They are the trees which you dream about. The ones that are impossibly wide, with knotted branches and roots that go deep, deep into the earth. They are truly the giants which still stand on the land. It is hard to see how one could grow such trees. But those of you deeply connected with your earth rune would likely understand that secret. It is these roots which Ernalda has blessed and fed for thousands of years. This is why they grow so wide and tall. And as you approach the outer edges of it, perhaps maybe 50 or so meters from the edge of the cliff, you can see that there is a portion of this grove where there are standing stones which encircle an ancient oak, even larger than the ones on the outside. It is almost impossibly large. It stands up a little bit on a raised hillock, as if it has its own throne of earth. All around this mound, the trees gather. The wind whips through the branches and the leaves. And hanging on this massive oak, there is a skull. You see an enormous stag skull. Beautiful white antlers spreading out to the sides like skeletal wings.
It's already dead, and yet somehow I feel like an executioner.
What we're about to do is an act of heresy, but it has to be done.
Finn approaches the skull. Really look at it, meet its gaze.
Begin to approach the skull and get a little closer to these standing stones. You feel the wind shift, and you smell, Finn, something on the air. There's a musk, but then also there's something that smells like campfire leaves. And from behind this massive oak, you see a captivating image. You've seen it before. You see the royal, that beautiful stag which shimmers in the light. It is massive. It's, again, one of the largest animals that you've seen. It's probably as big as, if not larger than, the mama bear you ran into on the other side of the mountain. It approaches you slow. It nods, almost bows its head slightly, and sort of regards all of you. My friends, you can all hear instantly, something is amiss.
So much.
The Haraborn face dark days. We've been sent to free the spirit of this tree.
You almost see the brow of the stag furrow a little bit. Not in confusion, but almost intrigue. If you kill the ancient oak, the black stag will be released.
Yes,
You understand what this means.
I believe so.
It inhales very deeply. You are Vargast, son of Gordangar.
I am.
You are willing to bear this burden,
For my people, yes.
but you do not bear it alone. The stag, the royal, looks around at the group of you. If the black stag is released, it will have to be held. Someone will have to act as its vessel. And none of you are powerful enough to do so. Very well. I propose a deal. I will carry the black stag. I will carry the spirit within me until such time as the people can find a safe home.
I agree.
It is the only way.
This is not a simple process. Even once you split the tree and I take hold of the black stag, I will be I will be burdened by its spirit. To take the spirit in will take time. I will be defenseless.
Then we will protect you from all enemies.
It nods. You see the royal look out towards the cliff, almost as if to look out towards the Vale, where the smoke has risen, where thunderbolts are beginning to echo up. You can feel the soft patter of rain at your feet. Just the lightest of drops, which seem to get through the canopy of so many oak trees. Very well. It moves through the group of you and then turns around. Do what you must.
I'm going to cast Lightning Bolt.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll stride forward and call upon Orlanth.
Okay. So if you're going to use the traditional Lightning Bolt spell, then I believe there is a roll for it.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Thunderbolt.
Oh, Thunderbolt. Okay, so yeah, that's different. Thunderbolt, one word?
Yes. It's 3d6 directly to its unarmored self. That is 10 points of damage.
There is a call that goes up, and when you reach out for Orlanth and you call his name and you invoke that spirit, that Lord of the Middle Air, the response is immediate and thunderous. The bolt comes from a nearby storm, one which quite possibly your uncle may have summoned. And there is a peal and a crash through the air, and a superheated bolt of lightning comes down from the sky above. It rips through the branches of this ancient oak, and with a pop and boom, sunders the tree directly down the middle. Within moments, something dark unfurls out of the tree. You see it rise impossibly high. It's as big as a barn. It's semi-transparent. Its fur is like thunder clouds that flicker with blue and violent flashes of light. A bellow comes from within. It forces you to cup your ears. It hurts, shakes your molars. And you see this creature break free from the inside of the tree. And when it does, before it can do whatever it might have wanted to do after that, the royal steps forward and it opens its mouth, and the stag begins to inhale as hard as it can. And you watch this black and violet shape begin to get condensed down, smaller and smaller and smaller, until you would think that there's no way the royal could inhale any longer, and yet the spirit continues. And this form, this black stag spirit, begins to get pulled into the royal. And a voice cuts through the air, a feminine one, a voice you've heard before. And she says, "Alone at last." It comes from behind you.
Whirl on it.
Yeah, turn around. Face it.
You see Ashigara, the red woman, and aligned along with her are 12 armed lunar soldiers. Weapons ready. I knew you were all important, but I'm just learning how important.
You come all this way just to die.
A Sartarite true and through. Where will you run with your veil obliterated?
Long as you die here, well, there won't be any running. We'll stroll casually over your cold corpses, and we'll settle a new place. We'll rebuild, and you'll be forgotten. Did I miss anything, Vargast?
No, I think that sums it up.
You only missed the part where you get your tongue removed, Molly.
You didn't bring a big enough knife, lady.
The 12 lunar soldiers in front of her seem to gesture with multiple bladed weapons. Now, I don't want to spill your blood in this grove. It seems nice, I suppose. So, if you just forfeit, give up, you'll get a chance to live. If not, we'll see about the rest.
If we're marked to die, there's no other place I'd rather die.
May the seven mothers keep you. So what we'll need to do is dive into RuneQuest combat, which of course is everyone's favorite thing to do, even mine. And so the way things work in RuneQuest, as many of you have probably heard as we have played, is sort of there's sort of a declaration of events. And so we get a chance to see what our Sartarites want to do. There's basically 4 phases to it. One is the statement of intent, and that's so the players and I get together and we figure out, hey, what do you want to do? And then we do movement after that. If anything that's anybody that's not engaged in combat, that will be kind of important, maybe in the narrative sense as you see the fight unfold. And then we'll do any resolution, melee and missiles or spells that happen. So what I would like to do is just basically go around the horn, as it were, and get an idea of what our player characters would like to do. So, Lysana, what is your intent?
My intent is to stand fairly close to the royal as they, with the intent of doing what I can to protect, or at least to kind of put myself physically between the royal while it's doing its thing with the tree and the oncoming onslaught. But I am facing the troops. I am not focusing on the red woman, as hard as that is, because she is very much a center of attention right now. But I am going through and I'm sizing up the troops, and in my mind, I am preparing the words to draw the power from the earth to demoralize for the troops.
Okay, so let me just ask for a little clarity. Are you preparing to cast demoralize, or are you kind of sort of thinking about it?
Yes. I will pick out look at the 12, try to kind of take a guess with which one I think demoralize would hit the best on, like who's maybe looking just slightly uncomfortable or really not, maybe not paying as much attention or something. And I will be casting demoralize on that troop member. Okay.
So, Alara.
So I have a question. I wanted to cast Blast Earth. However, is that a description of the spell itself, or the rune magic itself? Doesn't talk about damage. Is that supposed to be something that you can damage people with, or is it supposed to just damage the earth? And that's page 321.
I see that. So, ranged, instant, and stackable. This spell is cast on an area of land geometrically proportionate to the number of root points expended, with each point doubling the prior step. 1 rune point affects 1 square meter, 2 affects 2, and 3, so on and so on. No plants within the blast area can flower or bear fruit in a year. So I would rule that it wouldn't necessarily do damage per se, right? But if you were to say put 3 rune points into it, you would get a 3 meter square area that would get blasted. So I'm going to imagine too that is likely 3 meters down as well, right? Because you're essentially blasting the earth. And in that case, you would create an enormous freaking hole. And a 3 meter hole is pretty deep, especially for folks who are in armor. And that's an area effect spell, and so you could probably encapsulate a couple of these lunar soldiers within that area if you gave it all the gusto.
Okay. So if I put my 3 rune points in there, that gives me 4 square meters. So I think that's like 43 feet. Can we use runic inspiration on this?
If you need to make a roll for it, yeah. Yeah, 43 square feet. So I'll let you, the player, decide how you're going to spend those 43 square feet with the caveat that it has to be actually in a square. So it could be 20 square feet wide and 20 square feet deep, et cetera, et cetera. You have to tell me how you want to split it up.
Yes, I think that would be... Yes, and I would focus at the center of where the soldiers are.
All rune spells are cast on strength rank 1 unless boosted. You're boosting yours with 3 points, so that'll go on strike rank 4. And then Heather with Demoralize.
Yes.
For Lysana, do you know what the strike rank of Demoralize is? Or it's a spirit magic spell, isn't it? Yeah, so it's 2 points is what it costs you. So each magic point is +1. So to determine strike ranks for spirit magic and sorceries, we add the strike rank modifier for the magic points, which in this case is 2, used in the spell to the adventurer's dex strike rank modifier. Haha.
Yeah, so my dex SR is 3. So, and you say to add the 2?
Mm-hmm.
So 5.
Yeah, you're going 5. All right, Varghast, what are you cooking up? We have, unfortunately, very recently seen you use all your rune magic.
Yeah. So there will be no rune magic spells. I need to know a couple of things. What weapons do they have?
So they are armed with medium shields and copus.
Okay, and how far away are they? Do I have a round?
I'd probably say they're at least 10 meters.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the fight to them. Try to catch one of them off guard.
You're going to, imagine, use spear and shield?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the other thing. Did we ever get any armor?
You'd have a shield.
Okay.
And then you would all still have that. Actually, I'm sure that paste that got put on is long since gone.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't know that you would have any. Well, let me see here. On page 215 of the RuneQuest book, there is a full armor chart, right? And so you'd all have access to leather cuirass and to go on your chest, which would give 1 point. It absorbs 1 point of armor, or it absorbs 1 point of damage, and then you'd also have leather skirts, and then you would also have, provided you could carry it, a medium shield. So that's likely a wood shield.
Okay.
And the stats for shields are on page 217, just the next couple pages over. That's really the stuff that will matter here, is that the shield has 12 hit points. So it could potentially be a lifesaver. So investigate those while we continue. So what is your strike rank then?
1.
So and then the weapon itself that you're using?
0.
Because of the length?
Yes.
Got a big long spear.
That's right.
Finn, what's the plan?
Okay. So first of all, you mentioned that there was a way to gain more or replenish rune points. Is it through the holy days and sacrifices?
Yeah, so normally your rune points are going to come back during holy days.
Okay.
If you make it to another holy day, you might be able to invest more POW permanently to get more rune points.
Yeah. Okay. So for now, I have the 3 to work with, which is fine because Finn is going to crouch down where they can see him, pat the ground and make a couple of odd sounds. Look like he's calling something. But what he's actually doing is first, he's doing runic inspiration for illusion.
Okay, so are you going to cast a rune magic spell?
I am indeed, sir.
Okay, so just give me the total cost of the rune magic spell.
Total cost of the rune magic spell will be 3.
Okay, so are you going to spend all 3 points of
All
it?
3 points.
Okay, so you'll go on strike rank 4.
Okay. It will be 2 into illusionary substance and 1 into illusionary sight. And out from underneath the plates of their armor will crawl all sorts of spiders.
So the moment before the battle begins, the royal bellows, that's really the best way to describe it. The royal calls out after that massive inhale. And when he does, you hear every bush and every tree limb and all this cacophony of sound come from the deep wood behind the tree. And out from the trees rush wild boar, other deer stags, and a series of what look like very aggravated squirrels. Very aggravated. And they rush the lunar position. It appears that they're going to bowl right through you. And wild boar are not small. And now we begin. Really quick, I will let Alara and Finn know that a very particular mother bear has arrived along with the boar.
Yes!
What this will do is it will even the sides for what the Haraborn will have to face with. So each of you will have likely a single or perhaps 2 lunars to deal with. But before we do that, on strike rank 1, Vargast, your opener.
I will strike. 2 under 40. 10 under 40, sorry, not 2.
I was like 2. Oh, wow. Okay. So we are going to attempt to parry that. Not with that roll. You will win out on the roll. And so I will invite you to make a hit location roll.
Right leg
Okay.
for 12 points, 13 points of damage.
All right. By the time the battle starts, you 4 are effectively looking at an inverted V that you're attacking. So if you could just give me a left, center, or right direction that you choose to go, Vargas, that will help me.
Go right.
Okay. You go right. Are you going to attack the furthest to your right or towards the middle?
I will attack the furthest to the right.
Okay. So when you leap effectively out towards the far right, that spear finds the leg of that lunar soldier that's standing there, and you pierce the leg, and when you pull the spear out, you watch the man crumple, having lost all of his armor and all of the hit points that were attached to that leg. Although he is not dead, he will not be standing on that leg anytime soon. You are now to the right. That is likely very important for the next combatant who will go. And that's, I guess I need to know between Alara and Finn, whom has the higher dex?
My dex is 12.
Finn's dex is 16.
Okay. So go ahead and make your runic inspiration roll
Alrighty.
before you cast your rune magic.
That is a 26 under 80.
26 under 80. I don't believe that's a special. I think that's a little too high to be a special. Even under 80? Yeah. So 20% then to the skill.
Awesome. And then what do I roll for the runic spells?
It's going to be the rune that it's attached to. So it's probably illusion that you have to roll under.
Yep.
Each rune spell is associated with one or more runes. Spells identified with the R rune are associated with any rune cult. An adventurer's chance of casting a rune spell known to their cult is equal to the rating in that rune. And obviously this is your adjusted rating.
Right. That is a 37 under 80.
Yeah, so the spell goes off, and you have also used your runic inspiration for this session. So spiders.
Spiders and scorpions, but mostly spiders.
Okay. I'm going to make a group power roll for the lunar soldiers.
And illusionary substance at 2 points does do damage.
Oh, does it? Tell me about it.
2 points can do 1d6 of damage.
What's the area effect of it, though?
It is ranged, sir.
Yeah, so is it just one person, or are we covering a series of opponents based on an area?
It is mass of considered to be size 6 worth of spiders.
Okay, so I think you're just going to get one of them.
Okay, one big spider or a whole bunch of little ones, either way.
Well, just like a whole bunch of little ones, but on one person in specific.
Oh, that's perfect. I'm going for not only damage, but I'm also going for moral problem here.
Okay, so they failed their power roll against that. So go ahead and roll a d6.
Will do.
And it would be fun to roll location just to see where exactly the spiders bite at.
Indeed.
I mean, we're here, we might as well.
They go up the right leg.
Okay. So this lunar soldier that you target.
And he takes 5 damage as hopefully he begins frantically striking and slashing at the horrible spiders on his leg.
So, James, just for clarity, left, right, or center of the...
Which way did Vargas go when he struck?
Right.
Then I'm going left.
Okay. So this person on the far left has a bunch of spiders on them, at least as far as they see. And then... Okay. I have on my map here, I have singled out 6 of the soldiers who are going to be preoccupied with rabid squirrels or a really angry bear or perhaps a boar or two that has decided to engage them. So then I will move to Alara, also on strength rank 4, who is cooking up something.
Yes, I will use runic inspiration, or try to use runic inspiration. And I will focus on the Earth Rune and Marangor and Arnalda to give me the strength to make this Blast Earth spell as powerful as I can to take down and bury these horrible people. I get a 62 out of 65.
Okay. So that's plus 20 to your Earth Rune?
Yes. So that'll put me at 85.
Yep. Now roll your Earth Rune.
And I ended up with a 32 out of 85.
Okay, 32 out of 85 is success. So that is a successful spell. So what I'm going to do is ask you, the player, where you're going to focus this spell, and then sort of some of the details based on the blast. Like, what in Alara's mind, what is her focus? What is she trying to have the earth swallow up? Where?
To cast this spell, I will kneel down and splay my hands on the earth and focus and pray and chant to Marangor about focusing all that energy to displace the earth at the middle of the group and to pull them as far down in the earth as I can, and hopefully have them buried underneath that as well as the earth comes apart and takes them down.
Okay. I like this. So your earth, that call you put out to Marangor when you splay your hands and press them as far as you can into this, frankly, rocky and dirt-covered terrain that is here on top of the Royals Grove. It isn't a prayer that comes out of you that is something others could decipher. What comes out of you after you pray to Marangor, what comes out of you is rage. Hot, angry rage from the inside of the earth comes back up to you. And when you scream, it shakes the ground. It crumples part of the earth. There is what is in effect a sinkhole erupts. And you focus it at the cause of this problem, this red woman who has so beguiled all of you. And so what I'm going to do, based on your description, is I'm going to suggest that it will be probably about 15 or so meters in depth, which is pretty far. And then the rest will make up an area, a square, right, of how much it can potentially capture in width and depth. So I'm going to say that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 potential targets can be swallowed up by your expenditure. Each one of them are going to get an opportunity to make a dex roll, and if they succeed, they'll have the opportunity to sort of fling themselves towards safety. They won't be able to act this round because they'll be in effect, well, not falling into a freaking sinkhole that you've created. If they fail, however, they're going to fall many, many meters, and they will likely be, we'll just say, out of combat. Okay, so 3 total passed their rolls. The red woman being one of them. And then 2 of them, which are close to the sides of where this sinkhole appears, they managed to essentially grab onto the sides of the earth and pull themselves out before they get swallowed up. The other 3 go through a series of horrifying events. 2 of them drop immediately as the earth beneath them just evaporates, as if it was never there. 1 of them missed their roll by 1. And that lunar soldier drops his weapons as he leaps forward, effectively towards you, and he grabs onto the edge of the lip, and you watch the panic in his eyes as his grip is not strong enough to keep him from being consumed by your call to Marangor. And so that's Alara's action. There is now a large sinkhole in the middle of the battlefield, and the tide is appearing to turn. So that is strength rank 4, and I believe that will bring us to Lysana on strike rank 5.
So I have placed myself close to the royal physically, and after witnessing the sheer awesome power of Marangor ahead of us, I am going to look again, as I was focusing on the troops, the soldiers behind her, and as almost half of those soldiers basically disappear, I will look for the one that looks the most scared, and that is the one that will receive demoralize.
I mean, take your pick, right? So, just for numbers' sake, there are 3 total on the left now. There are 2.5 if you really count the one that Vargast has wounded fairly deeply, and then in the middle, the only one really that's left is the red woman.
At this point, I'm going to go against the group of 3 on the one side, the one in the middle of the 3.
Okay. That'd be the one that is basically would likely engage with Vargas rather shortly.
I will go for the one in the middle. And that is... It's a POW versus POW resistance roll.
Love it. Let's do it.
That is a 3.
Okay. So you will succeed. What's your POW?
That is a 3 under 75.
Okay. Yeah. So 3 under 75 again, a critical. I don't know if with demoralize if there's a specific, if it says anything in there about if you get something specific.
Yes. So if the demoralized spell is successful, the victim will lose his faith in their own ability and of their allies to win a fight, find treasure, bring honor to their clan, or achieve an appropriate goal. Victims can still defend themselves fully, but attack only at half normal percentage. They can only use defensive and heal spells. And if the spell takes effect before combat is started, which I guess in this case, since they haven't been attacking or they weren't engaged before this, I would assume that means this is before combat. The victim does not try to attack. Faced with superior odds, the victim either runs or surrenders.
Yeah, so combat has started, and that's okay, because basically what this soldier is going to do is back off between all of the other heavy losses. It backs him off quite a bit. His shield is in front of him, and he is not taking any sort of aggressive actions. For you, Vargas, what that means is that on this portion of the battlefield, there are only 2 combatants on the right side that are left. They will get a chance to go, obviously, but that is very helpful. Okay.
Yes.
So I shall fling that one at the one, and then my attention will turn to the one to that victim's left, my right. So I basically just turn, my eyes just kind of flick over and then look at the one next to him, indicating you're next.
Well, we'll see about that. The Lunars are going to get an opportunity now to, we'll just say, retort, which should be fun. They are going to move on their action. This will increase their strike rank a little bit, but they'll have enough to arrive and attack with copuses. So, Alara, for all of your screaming and your fanaticism on the battlefield, you are going to draw the direct attention of 2 lunar soldiers directly to you. And so they are going to attack in hopes of cutting you down, because you are obviously an enormous threat. Okay. We'll resolve that. So you have the ability, you have your shield. And let's see here.
It looks like the leather chest piece and the leather skirt both absorb 1 point of damage. And the shield, the medium shield, has 12 hit points.
If you block with it, certainly. I would think, though, that Alara might want to dodge.
Yeah. Well, my dodge is 24, so we'll see. We can do it. Let's try.
You get at least 1, right? So
it'll be fun. All right. Do you want me to roll that now?
Yes, because I have successfully hit you with the first attack.
Cool. All right. That'll be a 96 over 24.
Okay, that is problematic.
Yes.
So a 96, 24 you said? You are very lucky. So it's a 97 at 26 and up. That is a fumble. So you have not fumbled. You have failed.
Oh, good.
So that is good, at least from that aspect. Should just be standard damage. Let's roll some hit location. That is abdomen.
All right. And how much am I taking?
So you take 4 points of damage.
All right. And with my +1, so I have 7 total. So I'm down to 3.
Let's see here.
Because my hit points is currently 6 +1 for the skirt, which is an abdomen piece. And so it's 7 minus 4, so I get 3 still on my abdomen.
Okay, let's make the second attack roll. Yeah. So that will hit you, provided that you do not block it.
Yeah, I'm going to try to block it with a shield.
Okay, go ahead and give me a shield roll.
It's a 36 out of 45.
Okay, so that is a successful shield block. Let's see where you got hit. Right leg. Any damage taken by the shield above what the shield can absorb in one blow is inflicted on the hit location originally rolled in the attack. And so I will roll this d8 plus d4, which is what the Copus is. All right, so the shield takes a hammer blow hard, and 10 of the 12 hit points are stripped off that shield. But it is still there. It's probably, honestly, like shattered in half, and you have a couple of pieces of wood that are sort of limply woven together or, tied together still.
Wonderful. I'm glad I have my legs still.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And you're bleeding, of course, having been stuck in the abdomen by the previous blade, which is really more of a glancing blow now that you see the damage they can potentially do. Okay. Varghast. You, sir, have one combatant coming at you. Luckily, because Lysana saved you from getting tag teamed. Okay. So, you have spear and shield.
No, I can't use my shield with the two-handed spear.
Okay. So, would you like to dodge? Or parry?
I'll dodge.
Okay. Sounds good.
That is 28 under 41.
Okay. Dodge result table, normal dodge versus normal success. Attack is dodge. Congratulations, you dodge. You get swiped at, and you feel the air get cut right in half by your head as this lunar soldier tries to effectively take your head off. So that leaves the red woman. She lifts her arms in praise and calls out to the reaching moon. And in a language which only a few of the words make sense, she is calling down the great seven mothers to walk amongst all of you and to protect her from your evil Sartarite ways. And you see these pieces of her armor, these pieces of her clothing become illuminated in soft white moonlight. I'm going to make a couple of collective battle rolls for the bear that's here and a couple of the boars, just because I think it might be funny. Okay, so the animals on the ground don't do a whole lot, except really one group of them. And there is one of the farther lunar soldiers, actually the one lunar soldier that seemed to, on the left side of this battle, that seemed to claw his way out of the pit, which Alara dug for him. He is beset on all sides by a group of sinister squirrels, which get under a lot of the armor that he's wearing. And keep in mind, some of this is ring. And so he begins to have what we collectively call a very bad day. Okay. So that is the first round of our combat. And what I'd like to do is keep going, because I think that we deserve to see this through to the end in this episode. So I'll ask for statements of intent after all your record keeping is done, making sure that your armor and your hit points and your shield points are professionally and properly deducted. And so I'll start with Lysana and ask, what is your intent in this next round?
Based on what I've seen the Red Woman do, and I can make an intelligence roll if I need to. Do I really believe that any magics that I could throw at her would have a reasonable chance of working.
It's hard to say, but I would say it's likely that Lysana is fairly confident that Arnalda's with her, and these are the type of people that put your people into slavery. And so if any of you have a passion, which is hatred lunar, here they are, face to face, in your home, burning it. I don't know how much passivity that allows you. Now, Arnalda is the queen of that. There is always another way. But the battle is actually going fairly well for your side, thanks to Alara. And, well, those squirrels and that bear and a few other accompanying people. You have an opportunity in this round, you think, to turn the tide of the battle.
She will turn her attention to the Red Woman, and she will bring every ounce of the strength of those who have come before her, the strength of her family line, those who looked fear and death in the face and went in anyway, to draw upon the life force that flows through the earth still for just a moment, long enough, casting Demoralize.
That'll put you at SR5. All right. And Alara, the bloody but yet unbowed.
Are those two lunars still in front of me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So what I'll do is I will pull my one-handed axe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you have your one-handed axe, and your plan is to chop at some lunars. Very good. What is the strike rank for your one-handed axe?
It is 4.
Fabulous. Down at the end of the table, Varghast, you're engaged in melee combat. I can only assume that you're going to,
Attack.
Yeah. And you're on SR1.
Yes.
Okay. And then finally, Finn.
Well, he's going to bounce a rock off of what's her name there in the middle with the sling.
Yeah. What's the SR for your sling? Dex plus what?
S/MR.
Yeah, because it's how many you can actually spin.
Right.
So yeah, what's the first cost is your Dex strike rank, yes?
Oh, okay. That would be 1.
1. Okay.
Yep.
So you can fire on 1 and then you pay 5 to reload. And so you can go on 6 as well.
Gotcha.
Fabulous. All right, so let's clean this up, shall we, Varghast?
Let's do this.
You will attempt to parry.
That is 12 under 40.
Okay. So he parries with the Kopis. And then also on strike rank 1, Finn, with your sling.
That is a 17 under 25.
Okay. That is going to hit the Red Woman.
Whoosh, yes. D8 damage then.
Location, please.
Left arm.
Good roll damage.
4.
Okay. You watch the rock hit her left arm. You absolutely get her attention, but you watch it glance off her arm. And she's sort of almost in a very, I don't want to say robotic because really there's no reference here for that sort of thing, but in a very definitive way turns her head to look at you. And she narrows her eyes. And then we're going to go to strike rank 3, which nothing happens on, nor does anything happen on 2. And we'll go to 4, which will be Alara.
Yes, I will try to strike with my one-handed axe at the nearest lunar that attacked me.
Yeah, I mean, pick your poison, left or right, up to you.
Yeah, left.
Left is good.
I get a 94 out of 40.
You know, Normally, such a roll would not be very auspicious, but the Hand of Fate is going to upgrade that roll to a special.
Wonderful. Thank you, Patreon.
Okay. So I'll upgrade that to a special, but your combatant is still going to get an opportunity to parry. That is not good. Okay, let's see here. Take his skill of 70 and see what happens to him. Okay, so it is definitely a failure. So failure versus special will mean something in RuneQuest combat because he attempted to parry and did not do well. Failed parry versus special. Attacker rolls special damage. Defender takes damage. So why don't you give us a hit location?
Right leg.
Okay, so rolling special, success, or critical hit when making an attack, it causes additional damage. A special success is any roll that is equal to 1 feather under, which of course the Hand of Fate has helped us do, and that's okay. But really the question is what type of damage is this? So is this a slashing weapon?
One-handed axe. It is a slashing weapon.
Okay, very good. So what I would like you to do is double the damage that axe does and roll it. So if it is 1d6 plus 1, it now does 2d6 plus 1. If it's 1d8, etc.
Can I just roll 1d6 and times 2? Or do I need to roll 2d6?
You need to roll 2d6.
All right. Hang on. 7.
Okay. And do you have any strength modifier?
I do not.
Okay. So you do 7, and you said that was to the...
To the right leg?
Right leg? Okay. So that will compromise his armor completely and then do some hit point damage. So you turn with the axe. You pull the axe out as fast as you can, and you whipsaw it left. And it breaks through the armor that he's wearing on his leg. You sort of come up from a sitting position with your hands still full of the dirt and that surging energy from Marangor. And when your axe connects with his leg, you hear inside your head, you hear a woman roar in anger. And you start feeling your body heat up. And that was SR4. And so we'll get to 5 now. And that 5 is, well, a little standoff with Lysana and the Red Woman, who looks fairly perturbed at Finn for whatever reason. You're not sure.
All right. I'm assuming runic inspiration first.
Yep, you bet.
So Earth Rune at 65. And that is a 60 under 65.
Okay, so it's 20%. My question is, the Demoralize spell
Yes.
is just a spirit magic spell.
Yes.
So it'll be 20% added to your power roll.
So that brings it to 95%.
Right, so you need to make a power roll now. Along with me.
That is a 44 under 95.
Okay, so you both have successes. So you cast Demoralize, and the Red Woman has to deal with all of the incoming emotions and the attempts to break her will. And you can see these waves, wave after wave of energy sort of floods out of your body and goes over this open space in the earth that Arnalda allowed Alara to make. And the waves impact the Red Woman, but she does not seem to falter in her gaze or her desires. So on 6, Finn reloads.
That's absolutely correct.
And so I think as we played it before, you'd actually end up going on 7.
Yep.
Because we got to add 1 for the dex strike rank for the sling.
Right.
But we're on 7 now, and we know that you have a higher dex than the other combatants. So I'm going to let you go first. before the rest of the Lunars here attempt to beat Alara into submission.
Absolutely. Well, then that first rock really seemed to perturb her some. So this second rock is probably going to really piss her off.
I like that.
That is a 24 under 25.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's probably not going to, she's going to pretty walk around that one pretty deftly.
Yeah. She gets out of the way. She moves.
Finn grins. They're doing a dance now. Finn loves to dance.
So we have the combatant, which is on Varghast. Do you want to parry or dodge that?
I'm dodging.
Okay.
40 under 41.
Okay. You dodge. Just barely again. And now the 2 on Alara. So Alara, and then these 2, and then 1 will eventually arrive for you, Heather, as the 1 at the back has finally had an opportunity to move all the way around the big sinkhole and can now engage. We'll deal with the 2 on Alara first. Would you care to... I'll make the first attack roll. You can tell me whether or not you want to block it with what's left of the shield. Oh, that first one's a miss. And so is the second, a 93. So you do some fancy dancing over there. And these copuses come in, but neither one of them connect. And now, Lysana gets to meet a lunar soldier directly. I know you're so happy. So would you care to dodge or parry or attempt to block with the shield that you have been given? Parry if you have a weapon, like, up.
Yeah, no, because I don't have a weapon.
Okay.
I would like to duck behind the shield.
Okay, fair enough. So go ahead and roll me your shield skill, which base should be, I think, 15%.
Yes, because I don't think I have anything. Shield, and oh, wait, I take it back. I actually do. What size shield is this?
It's a medium shield. The base is 15%.
I actually have some points into this. I must admit, I kind of forgot I did. Okay. Holy cats, I can't believe that. So that is an 18 under 30.
Fabulous. So you put the shield in front of the sword before it gets to you. And now we'll see how your shield fares. Okay. So that shield has 12 hit points, and I'm going to take 6 of them.
Okay.
But you do not get hit.
And that's the important part.
That's correct. The red woman produces a composite bow, and she is going to shoot you, Finn.
She can try. Finn's going to dodge.
Okay. Yeah, you're going to need to.
That is a 61 over his 57. Dodge.
Okay. So this is probably going to hurt.
Probably.
Let's see where.
In the face!
No, not in the face. This is chest.
Oh, man. I keep important stuff in there.
Yeah. So I'm going to deal you 5 damage from the composite bow. You get hit center mass. You feel every inch of it. It pierces through the leather cuirass and ouch.
Ow.
Okay. So do your record keeping, and then I will have statements of intent for round 3. The squirrels do enough damage to the lunar soldier that they, we'll just say infiltrated, that he falls back into the pit. I'll make a couple of battle rolls for our boars and 1 bear. Oh, mama bear rolled a crit. So I'm going to take out one of the lunar soldiers fighting Alara as an enormous bear comes from behind this soldier and bites down on his shoulder, and you watch its maw pierce his collarbone, and then you see the worst of it, Alara, in front of you as you watch the head of this massive bear twist and rip, and that collarbone pops like a chicken, and he crumples. The boars were not as effective. Okay. Lysana, statement of intent, please. What are you up to this round?
All right, so I will attempt to demoralize him and hopefully chase him away.
Okay. So that's strike rank 5. Alara, gonna stay at it with your axe?
Yes. And which lunar is left? Is it the one that I already, decimated their right leg or?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I will strike at that one again.
Okay. Vargas, still in melee combat, so
You know what I'm doing.
I know you're trying to stab somebody.
Right.
Finn, are you still going to play tit for tat with the lunar woman?
Actually, Finn is going to roll for cover now. Spin for cover. But it doesn't mean he's not going to reload the sling and keep taking shots at her from where he's at.
Okay, so what I'll say then is your movement will be part of it, and then you'll be able to keep your reload. And so you'll still go on SR7, you'll still get a shot, but you're essentially taking portion of it to find cover behind one of these enormous trees.
First SR for finding somewhere not to get shot again.
It's basically movement points that your strike rank is getting spent on. Okay, so I'm going to go to SR1 with Vargast, and we'll resolve a strike.
33 under 40.
Okay, that is a hit. Roll damage. And location.
Let's do location first. Right leg.
You and the right legs.
Right. Take 8.
Okay. So that will pierce his armor there and make him think of maybe twice about how he's going to continue things. And all right. So we will move to SR2 with nothing, 3 with nothing, and then 4 with Alara.
Got a 37 out of 40.
Ooh, okay. So let's see if we can... we'll see if the lunar soldier can parry that. Nope. That's a fumble. That's real bad. Fumbling is bad in combat, folks. So let's see here. There's an entire fumble table. And who doesn't like a good fumble table, right, folks? Okay. So I am going to roll a D100. You can go ahead and roll your hit location and your damage. But something's going to happen. And it's not going to be good.
I think it's weighted. This thing is weighted. I got right legs again.
I think all these Haraborn are right leg targeters. I think that's what it is. So go ahead and roll damage.
All right. So I didn't notice last time, and so this is a learning experience, is that I have a damage bonus of 1d4 overall. Yeah. So I roll my 1d6 plus 1. So it's 3. And then I roll my 1d4. 5 damage.
Okay. So you swing and you hit this soldier's right leg. Oh. I rolled an 88 on the fumble table. Remember, kids, high on the fumble table, real bad. So I love this. So I will say that during his attack, because I think this is fun, he is going to swing back at you on his action. And when he does, he is going to accidentally hit himself. So he swings real low and he ends up cutting into his left leg. And so he will end up doing standard Copus damage, D8, D4 plus 1 to himself on an attack that he cannot dodge, clearly, as he's fumbled. He will do 10 damage to his left leg, which will pierce through all of the armor there and most of the meat that's there. And he collapses after both hits into a bloody, sort of hobbled mess. And that's strike rank 4. as exciting as it was. So on SR5, your demoralize spell is ready, Lysana.
Okay. So as I come up from behind the shield, I lock eyes with him and attempt to channel the fear of the earth. That is a 19 under 75.
Okay. 19 under 75 is not a special, but it's kind of close. But bear no mind because he has failed his power roll. And so he immediately backs off. While he doesn't cower by any means, he is protecting himself behind his shield. And he is backing up even as the red woman is continuing to call to press the advantage, press the fight. Even though just by the look of it, especially for somebody like you, Vargas and Alara, who are a little bit more probably battle tested, there is no lunar advantage here. The tide has turned. And so on strike rank 7, because he has a higher dex than the red woman does, I will give Finn an action.
Fantastic. And he is going to take that action from his cover to attempt yet another. He's keeping her busy. He wants to keep her distracted. And if he can bounce a few of these rocks off of her skull, then so much the better.
Mm-hmm.
That is a 4 under 25.
All right. So 425 is a special. She will work very hard to get out of the way. Go ahead and roll damage. She has a successful dodge, but it is not better than your special. Yeah, go ahead and roll normal damage.
Abdomen. I was trying to figure out what the hell that said.
All right, and then how much does your sling do?
4.
Okay. You get around the side of the tree and whip a rock at her. And you have a real good line on her. And you think it's going to strike real true, and she just at the last minute adjusts, and she winces a little bit as it impacts her side.
Finn punctuates that with a laugh that he knows she can hear. He wants her to know he's having fun doing this.
Okay. You hear the laugh. All of you hear the laugh sort of cackle through the boughs and trees. She turns her target and she shoots Vargas. So I can offer you a dodge. That's about it.
Then I will do so. 11 under 41.
Standard success. She has a special on her attack with the bow. So this is impaling. So the question is where's it go? That's abdomen. You're going to get shot by a bow in the abdomen. That will not be fun. So you are mid-combat with this lunar soldier, trying to basically stake out the best way to defend yourself. And it's been a pretty good fight overall. It's punctuated by your abdomen getting perforated. And so I will deal you 6 damage to the abdomen.
Well, that's no good.
Yeah, 1 armor, and then how many hit points do you have in the abdomen?
6.
So yeah, you've got 1 hit point left in your abdomen. You feel an arrow go through you. It takes the wind out of your lungs. She says to the assembled here, those combatants, she says, "Throw down your arms and give up now. There's no need to die." Okay. So we'll resolve the bear and the boars. Boars not so much. The bear is eating the demoralized lunar Lysana, just so you're aware. It has attacked him and is beginning to claw and bite at him. He is crying and bleeding. And so, just so we're clear, for Alara and for Finn, there is 1 more lunar soldier and the red woman. That's all that's left. And so I think what will probably be the final statement of intents for this combat, I have a feeling, I'll ask my players what their plans are, starting with Lysana.
Do I gain any insight when Demoralized did not work on the Red Woman?
No. Likely it is just a contest of wills the two of you were at odds about, and for whatever reason, she prevailed.
Okay. So I wasn't getting anything like there was any kind of spell magic involved, opposing magics or anything involved.
No.
Okay.
Just opposed will.
Okay. What's the situation with the Royal?
The Royal is dazed and still trying to take in all of the spirit. You can tell the Royal behind you is wavering on its legs.
Do I feel like it's being damaged by what's going on? It's just a lot of power.
Yeah, it's a lot of power that it's having to take in.
The final lunar, not the red, that's left with the Red Woman. I will turn my attentions and attempt to take care of him as well. So yes, I will be casting Demoralize on the final soldier.
Fantastic. Alara, what's your plan? There are no more lunar soldiers in front of you.
Yeah, I will use my composite bow and shoot at the Red Woman.
What's the SR of your composite bow?
I have SMR, so as many missiles as can be fired as strike rank permits, assuming 5 strike ranks to reload.
Right. So what's your dex strike rank?
My dex strike rank is 3.
Okay. So 3 base and then add 5. So you're going to get a strike at 8.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just call it 8 and call it a day. You're only going to get 1 shot around. Varghast, still locked in combat on SR1. So why don't you just go ahead after we get Finn's decision?
Are cult shots possible in the system?
I think so. So let's see here. It's like called location table.
197.
Hey, look at that. Man, that's helpful, isn't it? It's like someone was looking at the called shot table
Maybe.
the whole time. All right, aimed blows. An adventurer can affect which hit location is struck by delaying their attack and waiting for an opening. The adventurer who wishes to hit a specific location must state where they wish to hit. The adventurer then waits until strike rank 12. When they attack with half their skill plus any other modifiers. If they succeed, the blow hits where the player wishes. So you got to wait until the end.
You know what? Sure, I'll give it a shot.
Okay. So you're going to be on SR12 as you are lining up the shot. Can I ask what location you're trying to hit?
I would like to put one in her smug ass mouth.
Oh, I thought you were just going to end at smug ass. Okay. So Varghast on strike rank 1.
14.
Under
40.
Okay, that's a hit. Give me a location. He tries to parry, but can't get around fast enough this time.
I got the head.
Ooh, a headshot. Yay. Okay, hang on a second. Okay, so go ahead and roll damage.
Ooh, that's 14 points of damage.
Oh, that man is dead. So you get around his guard, and the Copus goes in sort of a strange arc, and you realize a half second before he does that he's made a critical error. And you push the spear forward, and it sort of rides up the arc of the parry, and it rides your spear all the way into his mouth, and you pull it out, and he drops. Okay. So, and we come to strike rank 5 for Lysana's Demoralize.
Is anybody besides her left standing?
No.
I didn't think so. Just wanted to clarify. So I will then turn myself to her. We are going to try to do this showdown one more time. Since I already had it in mind that this is what was going to do, and it is writhing within me, I am going to blast it forth with everything I have into her and hope this time it works.
Okay. Give me a power roll. Contested, of course.
That is a 16 under 75.
Okay. So it is a success. It is not a special. But you do win the power roll. So this time, Ronaldo's voice is inescapable. And just as she was preparing to fire another arrow at Varghast, she lets go of the tension on the arrow and it falls to the ground, and she drops the bow and very openly begins to surrender.
And without breaking eye contact, I will just say to the group, do with her what you will. The coward will not fight back. And I will not break eye contact.
She has surrendered. There's no honor in killing her.
I would argue that she is too valuable. You don't willingly spill the blood of a prize swine that you can trade at market for so much more. Finn does tip her over with his boot.
I will at least tie her hands.
Then Finn would have a point.
Yes. Let's see if we can trade her for some of our captured soldiers.
We're not really sure if anyone's been captured yet.
Is anybody alive? Do we know? We don't know.
We don't.
The royal steps out and around the hole, glancing at it and the blood around the ground. And he says, woman here has a noxious smell to her, but we have bigger problems. Now that the black stag is within me, I must shepherd it until it can be safely rejoined. I fear the battle below has gone badly. I do not feel many of my fellow people, my friends, but maiming her will not bring them back. She has other value. He inhales deeply. There have been many losses today, and many more losses to come. He steps out closer towards the edge of the cliff. You four will need to find your own path. The Vale is no longer safe. The Lunars who have come are but a water drop next to the shimmering river which will arrive. You must pick a direction and go. If you wish to trade her for your own people, there is a block to the east. It is where they will sell them. She will fetch a fair price. Strip her of everything but clothes. She needs not this armor.
We should strip the bodies too.
Take everything that's valuable.
We're going to need money to buy their freedom.
Indeed, you will only be able to take what you can carry.
Yes,
And this is goodbye.
for now.
I will know where each one of you are. No matter the distance. We are family. And my touch is on each one of you.
Farewell, older brother.
Lowers the enormous rack of antlers it has. And you see the air around it shimmer. And it leaps into the air. Far, far across the Vale. You watch it sail towards the northeast. You make do with what you can as far as the arms and armor here. There is a fair amount which you could carry and sell, although you think it might be a little tricky selling lunar armor. But you're also touched by a conundrum. one which we won't be able to solve completely tonight. And that is, where will you go? I think it's a choice best left for what comes next. So I want to thank my 4 players for helping me tell an amazing RuneQuest story. I hope all of our listeners have greatly enjoyed 6 seasons in Sartar. It will not be our last look at these characters. The next time we see them, some time will have passed, some things may have changed, but they will be on another quest. And so, thank you, and good night.